Good afternoon, good evening, whichever part of the world you are in. I hope you are doing great and you are in good health. This is Ashutosh Bhatodekar, and I'm going to take a very small session on what is the right way to learn Scrum. I'm sure all of us would have attended some training programs, would have gone in for certification, or what would have happened is we could have actually also learned from our coaches, mentors, but I'm going to present it in a different way, that if I were to teach Scrum, how exactly would I teach Scrum, right? That is what is the intent of this session. Okay, it will be a short session around 20-25 minutes, but definitely it will give you a glimpse as to how Scrum has to be learned and how Scrum has to be taught. Yeah, so as I said, you might have attended certification program, you might have attended some training courses, but this is what I'm going to talk about as my unique style and as my unique way of teaching Scrum. And yes, the intention is obviously not to just learn the subject theoretically, but also to understand the practical nuances or the real-time implementation. So if tomorrow I have to implement it, what should be the real-time challenges and implementation issues which I could be facing when I'm implementing Scrum. Okay, so that's the intent of this session, and we will be having more such sessions as we go along. Okay, just to introduce myself, Ashutosh Bhatodekar here. I have my own YouTube channel, Agile Coaching and Transformation Leadership. So if you are interested to watch some more videos, there are 100 plus videos on that channel. Do subscribe to that channel. We will be sharing the link with you towards the end of this session. I'm available on LinkedIn, like many of you are already on LinkedIn Live and connected with me. I also have a community, Pune Agile Thought Leaders. So if you are interested to join, do reach out to me and I'll share the link of that. It is on Telegram group. It is a Telegram group where we actually share learning platform. And yes, that's my number in case you would like to connect with me after this session is over. Okay, so on that note, let me start and let me deep dive into the topic, and let me talk about some interesting observations. Right? I mean, this is the data point what we have, and this is a data point which I have collected from my experience, from my I would say analysis, that most of us, when we go for an agile coaching interview, the resumes are rejected, right? And obviously, we all wonder that what is the reason. I mean, the way we articulate our experience, that itself is a problem, right? That itself is a problem. What we have, the way we articulate in our CV, that is a problem. The second myth we have is that we think that because we have got certification, we will get jobs, but that's not the case, right? There's always a difference between certification and a job. That's the second myth what we carry. The third myth we carry is that if I know tools, if I know certain tools, I will be able to perform the role of a Scrum Master or an Agile coach. But tool is just one element of it. Okay, it's not the only element. It is just one of the elements which is there, right? Which is the tooling part of it. Fourth is that we actually fail to comprehend the situational questions. So whatever are the situational questions what we have, right? We are unable to answer those situational questions. So that's another challenge what we face. And last but not the least, we tend to memorize things without realizing the fact that I mean, we are appearing for a professional job, right? We are not appearing as a fresher after our college education, that okay, I wrote something and I basically spill it out in the interview, I will get selected. No, you need to understand the applied knowledge. You need to not only have a standard knowledge, which is what is there in literature books, but you need to actually apply it in the real world, right? Now, these are broadly the four to five challenges which I have tried to summarize in this particular issue, right? I mean, in this particular slide is what I have tried to do. So now let me now tell you that when I teach Scrum, right, or when I teach an agile way of working, I mean, let's not restrict ourselves to Scrum. This can also be applied for a Kanban kind of an training. Or yes, there is a theoretical part of the training, right? Definitely, there will be some theory which we have to learn. You cannot deny that fact. But more than theory, so if it's a 2 day session, right? Let's say I am conducting a 2 day session, I will try to have at least 60 to 70% for a practical real-time case study. Okay, and yeah, one sample case study is what I have given you here, right? let's say that you're building an app, and these are the indicative features of the app. So rather than just learning about that the prioritization technique Moscow is must have, should have, could have, and won't have, we actually need to apply it on this exercise or on this case study. So a typical exercise would go like this, that if these are the 8 features, the team has to be formed. You have to work, and then you have to actually prioritize these features. These are features which are there. I'm not going into the details of this case study right now, but if you are interested, you can connect with me one-on-one, right? So these are the features which have to be prioritized, okay, using the classic Moscow analogy. I mean, again, Moscow is just one example I have given. You can use other techniques also, be it the Kano model, or it could also be your which, let's say, rice prioritization technique which is there. So these could be some of the models what you could use for prioritizing, and you actually come out with a real-time Moscow analysis of these features, which features are must have, should have, could have, and won't have. Okay, so that's when you get a practical hang of things. You don't have to just memorize something, or you just have to just don't have to imagine something theoretically, that oh, this is how it can be applied for a case study. Here is a real example of that. And yes, I mean, I have multiple case studies which I normally walk through. One is, of course, this app, the one which you saw, the mobile app. Another one could be for, let us say, building a retail site, or the third one could be to book your cab, or the fourth one could be, let us say, to set up an interface where a patient can connect with a doctor, right? All the well-known examples of apps which are around us. So if I were to implement this in an agile way of working, how exactly I should be doing, whether it is using Kanban as a Scrum as a framework, or a Kanban as an approach, how exactly will I use it? Okay, then the second important thing is, yes, I mean, Moscow helps us to prioritize the backlog and come out with a real-time backlog. We also need to understand how stories are written. Now, whether you are a Scrum Master, whether you are a product owner or a team member, at any point in time, you will have to understand the story. So what I feel is that it is very important for us to also know how stories are written. Although we may not be performing a product owner kind of a role in the engagement, but still I feel everyone should be aware as to how stories are written. So we have to slice that feature into stories. So we have to take into account the 3C, the card, the conversation, and the confirmation approach, which is there, the 3C model of user story, the invest criteria, right? I mean, we have to really see its application: independent, negotiable, valuable, estimable, sized appropriately, and testable, right? So that entire criteria has to be applied when you slice and dice the feature into user stories. And I think the golden rule, we know one feature can be broken down into multiple user stories. So what you see in this picture is a snapshot of those stories, how exactly those stories have been created there. Okay, so just to give a bubble of that, so let's say my feature is convenience of assisted navigation. How the stories will be coming out, right? I mean, what could be the scenarios on which I'll be creating the stories? And of course, needless to say, before even I go ahead and break a feature into stories, I will have to do a detailed persona analysis. So real-time exercise on persona analysis is also included, which I have not included in this demo presentation, but a real-time persona is what you will have to go ahead and create around it, right? So create a persona, then break down the feature into stories, and then what you will have to do is you will have to obviously size the stories. A real-time, again, a real-time exercise to actually size the stories and make sure that we use any of the standard scales which we are using. So obviously we all know the one which is very popularly used is the Fibonacci sequence, right? So we use that and we slice and dice the stories, and then we do a relative sizing of the story. So either you can use a t-shirt sizing, Fibonacci series, and what you get is a backlog with a priority list, and you get a size of each of the story. Now once you have got all of this, you then need to go ahead and create a release plan. And as we know, a release is a collection of sprints. So what is the MVP we are going to build in a first sprint? What is the MVP we are going to build in a second sprint, third sprint? we actually create a release plan with a ship ready state in, I mean, that's what you have to actually demonstrate that, okay, at the end of sprint one, if my release is of 3 sprints, what I'm going to give at the end of sprint one, what I'm going to give at the end of sprint two, what I'm going to give at the end of sprint three. So I'll have to give that MVP and the MMP analysis considering a team in place. So let us say I have a team of 5 team members with me, which is a cross-functional team, as we say. Who's going to pick up which story? The team members are going to decide. Obviously, we know that. And at the end of the day, what is that MVP and the MMP which I'm going to give, right? So the difference, as we know, right? I mean, MVP is something which is a prototype which you showcase to your key customers, whereas MMP is the final product which is released, right? Which is deployed and, if possible, released to our customers or end users. Yeah, so this is a short snapshot which I wanted to show about an experiential learning approach which I take when I'm conducting a Scrum program. Likewise, there are many such examples. Okay, for example, if I want to identify some of the key metrics, we have to really go into this case study and derive key metrics. And by metrics, I just don't mean about, let's say, velocity or say-do ratio. These are real-time business metrics, right? Related to the use case, what you pick up for designing the release plan, right? Real-time metrics. It could be related to customer usage, customer retention, employee satisfaction, profit per feature. Those will be some of the key metrics what we would be working on, right? So anyone who attends the session would be knowing these key business outcome or key business metrics. Yes, we do have the regular ones like velocity, say-do ratio, burn up chart, burn down chart as a trend charts which are there. But more than that, what is important is at the end of the day, what is business gaining out of it, or what are the critical business outcomes you're getting out of this release planning activity, what you are doing. So I hope this short video helped you understand my approach towards training. What is the approach which I take? And as I said, the focus is on more practical insights. The focus is on offering more real-time use cases which can be applied in a Scrum way of working. So once again, thanks for patiently hearing me out. I have a YouTube channel, as I said, Agile Coaching and Transformation Leadership. Do subscribe to that. If you are interested to join Pune Agile Thought Leaders Telegram group, very happy to have you on board, and you will come to know about, I mean, you will learn lot many things there with fellow members. Plus, you will also get to know the latest job openings related to the Agile and the Scrum world. And yes, that's my WhatsApp number. So if you're interested, do connect with me. And also I'm on Meetup, Pune Agile Thought Leaders. So on that short note, I'm just signing off for the moment. Thanks everyone for watching this video, and do connect with me one-on-one for any details.